Before starting the video, I want you to tell me if a person has ever earned your respect for an action you have done. Write your comment below, since I will be reading them and I will put hearts in the ones I like the most. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on notifications for more videos like this. So without further ado, make yourself comfortable and accompanied in this video. The movie opens with a prisoner named Nick, who is cleaning the bathroom floor. Suddenly two men come out of the bathroom, but he also heard a background noise. Nick quickly goes to where the sound is and finds a man about to kick the bucket. He screamed for help, but the prison officials stopped him, tortured and warned him not to meddle in his business, to then lock them both in a cell. Upon small talk, although he doesn't really understand much Japanese, the other prisoner turns out to be a Yakuza leader candidate called Kiyoshi. Then, from one moment to another he tells her to help him not to die, because he will try to hurt himself so that he will be hospitalized outside the prison, and his plan works, because many years later, when Kiyoshi gets out of prison, he never comes back. When Nick's release day finally arrives, we see a subordinate of Kiyoshi waiting in a car, and once he gets in the car, the subordinate tells him that they will take him to Osaka since Kiyoshi rules that area. Once he gets there, Kiyoshi and the Yakuza family, Shiramatsu's family, they thank her, and as a reward for this they give her a position within herself and also a lot of money, and not only that, since they also give Nick a gangster job, go to deal with Western businessmen. Despite being his first time, we see that he does very well. At night they thank Nick for his work and everyone approaches him, but not everything is good, since another Yakuza family, the Seisu family, goes with them, threatening them because they are working in their area. The conversation begins to get complicated when the leader of the Seisu family mocks Nick's boss, and Nick, despite the fact that there were many men, attacks him. However, everything calms down when both Yakuza families draw their weapons. The next day Nick has a second job, but this time he just needs to see how the Yakuzas handle their business, and in this way, he, along with Kiyoshi, arrive at the town area and look for the boss, and he bluntly approaches him and asks him where does he get the permission to manage his business. And, since the boss does not have such permission, Kiyoshi slaps him. However, this boss is not scared at all, and also offends Nick for being American. Hearing this, Nick hits him immediately and Kiyoshi finishes it off. That same night Kiyoshi's brother, called Orochi, asks him why he still stays with the American. He advises him to get rid of him, because it will bring him a lot of problems, but Kiyoshi refuses, because it was Nick who saved his life. While they were talking, her sister Mina was dancing at the door downstairs, which annoys Kiyoshi a lot, calling Nick to ask him to take her home, although it seems that all that was a plan, since her sister likes Nick, having action that same night between the two. The next morning Kiyoshi gives Nick an order, telling him to do a secret arms deal that will take place at the port, although it's weird because not even his family knows about it, and his argument is that it could be very beneficial for the family, but it is also very dangerous. However, Nick loves the challenge and decides to carry out Kiyoshi's plan, but something strange happens because of him. When he goes to the port, he finds absolutely nothing. Then the Seisu family appears since he has cleaned everything. Several approach Nick as they want to take the money from him and then make him kick the bucket, but when they were about to do it, we know that Nick is the main character, and in a moment of distraction he sends two men from the Seisu family to kick the bucket. Finally he manages to escape. However, when the head of the Shiramatsu family arrives, he gathers the family because he is very angry about the disaster that just happened, and especially since he messed with the Seisu family, telling everyone that the planet's his and not Nick's. And finally he also thinks there must be a traitor there, but Nick, as a show of loyalty, he decides to cut off 2 fingers, to pay for that mess he had that day, and then Kiyoshi also cuts off a finger, and those 3 fingers are sent to the Seisu family as a token of apology. The next day after the incident they all go to the forest and hold a ritual. It is mentioned that this ritual is called acceptance of family members, where at this time Nick has officially become a member of the Shiramatsu family, and as he is customary in Yakuza families, he also gets a tattoo to be identified by other members. Night falls and a welcome party for Nick, but in the middle of it Kiyoshi comes over to talking to Nick seriously. He tells her that he knows everything about the relationship that he has with her sister and asks her to leave her alone, since it is known that when a Yakuza member loves someone it can be dangerous for both. But Nick shows no emotions and tells him not to worry, because he can handle it. So in the morning Nick visits Kiyoshi's sister at her house. But upon arrival he realized that someone had hit her, revealing that Orochi also loves Kiyoshi's sister. However, she refuses to satisfy him. Nick obviously wants revenge, but Kiyoshi's sister stops him, revealing that she is pregnant, and he will be the father, so please don't get into any trouble again. This news surprises him, but he knows that he has to tell Kiyoshi, otherwise it would be like betraying his own brother, so with courage he confronts Kiyoshi and tells him the truth about his pregnancy. his sister, and as compensation he will leave the Yakuza family showing apologies. However, Kiyoshi believes in him and entrusts her own sister to her. However, he must promise to replace himself to always protect her from her, giving him a katana inherited from her father. One day Nick goes to the clothing store where the Yakuza leader wants to buy some new suits, but only when Nick enters does he realize that something is wrong in the store. And as he suspected, they wanted to turn off the lights to the Yakuza leader. In the end they save the leader and Kiyoshi, and Nick goes straight to their car, but several people approach and with weapons begin to shoot at the car. Nick checks if the leader was hurt and luckily he isn't. However, Kiyoshi, he had already kicked the bucket after being shot in the neck. In the afternoon the Shiramatsu family gathers to discuss the incident in the car, and one of them mentions that Orochi must be the traitor and sold them to the Seisu family, but the leader scolds him saying that is not possible and it is better that they concentrate on the war with the Seisu family. For fear of that event, Kiyoshi's sister goes directly to Nick, giving him a hug. She telling Nick that it is better that they leave because they will end badly. However, her move is the opposite, since the Shiramatsu family begins their clandestine movements, and under the orders of Nick they begin to look for the Seisu family, killing one by one, and even some of the Seisu family Yakuza completely fall for Nick's strategies. All this until one day the head of the Shiramatsu family receives a message from the head of the Seisu family asking him to confront Nick. He agrees, so that they can go to the port that afternoon to talk with the Seisu family. When they get there, the leader asks what the Seisu family wants, but they answer that they don't want anything, they just want to give something. Suddenly, Orochi appears and approaches their leader. For some reason the leader has a lot of price for Orochi and hugs him and says that he is happy to be back. However, Orochi responds with a hug by stabbing him in the back. However, all the members of the Shiramatsu family want to fight back. They are completely surrounded. One of the family members and Nick are not afraid of this. However, one kicks the bucket and Nick ends up with a bullet in the leg, and once the Seisu family has gotten rid of the leader, they leave the rest of the family because they no longer have power, and even after the news spreads, all the police start destroying the Shiramatsu businesses. But Nick, knowing that the family took him in, Nick decides not to stop there. So the day next, Nick without any fear arrives at the Seisu family's place quietly, and bravely enters the members' room in the middle of a meeting, where the leader and Orochi are. There all the members stop him and beat him, but he simply tells the leader that he wants to fight 1 versus 1 against Orochi, but he is clearly a coward, and even refuses, saying that he is a stranger, and not a Yakuza, then makes him stands up and tells him to get out of there and never wants to see him again. However, Nick was carrying his katana and cuts Orochi's neck. Everyone seeing this wants to shoot Nick, but the leader stops them all since he apparently takes it as compensation for killing his leader and lets him go. At the end of the film, Nick returns to Kiyoshi's sister, who was being guarded by the rest of the Yakuza members, and seeing that he returned alive and fulfilling his revenge. The rest of the members bow their heads showing their respect and also making him the leader of the Shiramatsu Yakuza family, giving us a lesson in life, and that is that sometimes strangers can be completely loyal to you, against your family that could betray you at any time. So I hope you liked the video very much. Before I go, I would like to remind you that if you liked the video, subscribe, like the video and activate the notifications of the channel so that you do not miss any video like this. See ya.